And I'm not taking down that tweet or acknowledging that my tweet violated the Twitter rules.
Up yours, woke moralist! We'll see who cancels!
Hello everyone, once again, from the capitalist dystopia of the United Kingdom. Now, did you know, in a country that is pretty similar to the UK, it even has the same head of state, that tweeting can now be illegal, according to Jordan Peterson? A court can rule that you must be re-educated in a camp because your tweets were so bad. That's how Jordan Peterson would like to frame his recent court battle with the College of Psychologists of Ontario, because of how basically insane his tweets were, and he wants to remain part of this college, seemingly, so he's going to have to go under some social media training. And he is acting like this is Canada cracking down on free speech. Like, Jordan Peterson physically isn't allowed to tweet this insane garbage. And make no mistake, it is insane. And it basically crosses every boundary for a professional. It's racist, xenophobic, spreading medical misinformation, spreading basically every terrible thing. A lot of them are very misogynistic, not to mention, like, 80% of his tweets are insanely transphobic as well. You can understand why organizations might have a problem with that, and maybe universities too, if he's taught at them, because he has firmly gone down this far-right rabbit hole, and it seems like maybe some lingering problems with addiction have caused him to become addicted to Twitter. Now, you know those Simpsons episodes where they kind of like look back at like the season and include clips from that? I'm quite busy today, so I don't have time to make like a longer video, but I just want to include some segments from older videos where I go through some of his most insane tweets. And you guys remember there was one period of time where he tweeted, like, I'm not even joking, 100 times in like an hour and a half. It was legit like insane what this guy was doing on his Twitter profile. So no wonder the court has ruled against him. So what I want to do today is look at the actual story, look at his reaction to it, which is really funny, look at like the actual legal documents which he posted on Twitter, and then look at if there was grounds for them to have a problem with the stuff he tweets by looking back at some of his most insane tweets. And no, I'm not just talking about him constantly posting the Joker on his Twitter profile. Before we go any further, please like the video, and in the comments let me know what is the most craziest Jordan Peterson tweet. Probably that milking video he posted, if you guys know what I mean, and we are going to talk about that a bit later. But if there's any that top that, I don't think there are, please let me know down in the comments. And also follow me on social media at the Kavernacle, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Threads, on Blue Sky. Consider becoming a patron as well. Trying to build up as many $1 $3 patrons as possible. Benefits include access to my old content posted there, access to my Nintendo Switch friend code, access to the private patrons Discord server, and DM me if you want to be a part of that and I'll send you a code. And also check out my second channel where I've been posting some like football highlights of mine recently. And check out the subreddit, and everything is down in the description. Let's explain what all of this is about. So, Toronto Star reporting, Jordan Peterson loses court battle over degrading and unprofessional tweets, will be forced into remedial coaching. So Jordan Peterson has lost his bid to overturn a decision by the College of Psychologists of Ontario, requiring him to take remedial training for some of his public comments on social media. In June, Peterson's lawyers asked a three-judge divisional court panel to set aside the CPO's order that he undergo social media coaching at his own expense. The governing body for psychologists in Ontario made the order after receiving numerous complaints over Peterson's commentary, which has been criticised for attacking feminism and racial diversity. I would say that's putting it kindly. The CPO's Inquiries, Complaints and Reports Committee found some of Peterson's comments degrading, demeaning, and unprofessional. On Wednesday, the Divisional Court dismissed his request in a decision that's been widely anticipated by free speech advocates and regulators from other professions. The ICRC decision considered and proportionately balanced the impact of imposing remedial training on Peterson's right to freedom of expression protected under the Charter, the judge wrote. The order is not disciplinary and does not prevent Dr. Peterson from expressing himself on controversial topics. It has a minimal impact on his right to freedom of expression, the 17-page decision states. The ICRC decision is transparent, logical, and provides a coherent chain of reasoning and is reasonably based on facts that were judged before the ICRC. The judge noted the decision simply requires Peterson to have coaching to review, reflect on his professionalism in public statements in order to avoid making demeaning and degrading statements about people that may be harmful to them and the profession. So if you guys are wondering why Jordan Peterson was even involved in some sort of like legal proceedings, it's because he's a member of the college since 1999. Although he hasn't practiced being a psychologist since 2017, he's still a member of them. So as he's a member, they have to take complaints seriously. And it's pretty clear that his social media posts are utterly insane. And he brings the whole profession down as a whole because, of course, he keeps claiming that he is a psychologist. And when he says stuff as a member of their organization, it of course makes them look bad by association. Now, the panel did cite loads of different things, including, of course, his Twitter ban for dead naming Elliot Page and just saying terrible things about them. Also, the sorry not beautiful tweet as well. So as we're going to see, Jordan Peterson is basically acting like he's been silenced by the Canadian government itself for his own views. So of course, Jordan Peterson is well known for being a rational and measured guy, and this is what he had to say about it. If you think you have a right to free speech in Canada, you're delusional. I will make every aspect of this public, and we will see what happens when utter transparency is the rule. Bring it on. Elon Musk going, wow, very insightful. Peterson saying, it's worse than you think, Musk. My tweets criticising the trans insanity and Justin Trudeau are the putative reason. The judges are progressives appointed by Trudeau, and all professionals in Canada are so terrified of their professional regulatory bodies that they are terrified into silence. And even those who aren't intimidated in that manner can't afford the extremely expensive, endless fight. Not good. Jordan Peterson also just tweeted out a lot of articles defending him. Do you think psychologist Jordan Peterson should be forced to undergo social media training? I would say 100% yes. Posting a video of South Park's tolerance camp, basically saying he's going to re-education and struggle sessions because he basically thinks everything left-wing is something to do with Stalin's gulags. But don't worry, looking like the Joker himself, Jordan Peterson put out a video on his Twitter. It's about a minute long. Let's watch it.
Hello, everyone. I've been awaiting a court decision in Canada with regards to the Ontario College of Psychologists' decision to require me to be re-educated in relationship to my social media use or to lose my license. The court ruled today in favor of the college. They claimed that I have the right to free speech in Canada, but subject to apparently whatever limitations the college wants to place on me, and by implication every other professional in Canada, and by implication every other citizen of Canada. The full response to that, my full response to that, or my full initial response to be more accurate, we'll release that tomorrow. So stay tuned, and I hope you find it useful and interesting.
I really don't see how this affects all Canadians. Are all Canadians members of that organization? So he's basically saying, well, lots of professionals are members of organizations, but it's not like he has to be in the organization. He wants to be in the organization, right? And a lot of people want to be to get that credibility so they can pursue it as a career or just have that credibility to go into it, I guess, in terms of education. And he's acting like because they said he has to take some course about how to use his social media, it's basically like Stalin's gulags. It's re-education camps. The whole of Canada should be worried because my punishment for being bigoted, racist, transphobic, crazily spreading medical misinformation every chance I get, retweeting fascists all the time, my punishment is I might have to take a little course about social media and I can still stay part of the college, right? Like, that doesn't seem like a severe punishment at all. And it will probably be over in, like, I don't know, a day. I don't know how long this course is. But anyway, we'll go back to Jordan Peterson's tweet. So show you, like, the extent of how bad they are. And if you're part of any professional organization, it seems like they probably wouldn't be happy about some of his tweets. But he actually posted the whole, like, court document and the decision and everything. And it says on page 3, since at least 2018, the college has received complaints about Peterson's public statements, Some complaints have been formal, but many were tweeted to the college via social media and often involved Dr. Peterson's views on topics of social and political interest. And basically, at the end, they said, following the transparent and coherent discussion, the panel concluded reasonably that Dr. Peterson's behaviour raised the moderate risk of harm to the public, which the panel had articulated in its decision, and concluded that it was very concerned that the reoccurrence risk in this case was high. That's putting it lightly. It therefore concluded its chain of analysis by deciding that it would be appropriate and in the public interest to require Dr. Peterson to complete a SCERP to address his professionalism in public statements, saying, because you keep tweeting such insane stuff and it's likely you'll do it again, you would benefit from some sort of social media course where you can have some reflection about why you tweet the way you do. Now, what's interesting about this as well is Jordan Peterson himself has reflected on how toxic he actually is on social media, especially Twitter. When he got banned for all the stuff he was saying at Elliot Page, he basically said like he's contributing to the toxic atmosphere on Twitter itself.
I'm not taking down that tweet or acknowledging that my tweet violated the Twitter rules. Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who. Twitter's a rat hole in the final analysis, and I have probably contributed to that while trying to use, understand, and master that horrible, toxic platform. No doubt I owe some apologies for that, and I'm trying to learn, but it's a relief in some real sense to be banned, and I regard it under the present conditions as a badge of honor.
Now, if you guys don't know much about Jordan Peterson's Twitter, if this is like, a rare video of mine you're watching, like I said, I've been covering his descent into madness for about 6 years at this point, and his Twitter is an insight into that madness. So I'm going to share you like a lot of like clips I have gotten over the years in my own commentary. But who could forget him retweeting some sort of insane fetish video, thinking it was some sort of semen milking facility in China at the direction of the Communist Party. And even his daughter Michaela said, "Dad, you can't retweet this on Twitter. My eyes will never recover." Because Jordan Peterson is an absolute rabid anti-communist, he just sees anything and believes, oh yeah, that's communism. That's what he thinks with this so-called persecution and re-education he's gonna have to go through right now. Why that should worry something like, I don't know, a college of psychologists is his critical thinking skills have been melted. Like, who sees that and actually thinks it's something from like a Chinese Communist Party dungeon for semen milking? Like, who? What rational human being, even anti-communist, sees that and without critical thinking just tweets it onto their timeline, right? How damaging does that look to a profession, especially if you're part of their organization, right? And he can't understand that the context might even be in this social media training, yeah, Jordan, you need some better critical thinking skills. Like, you can say stuff about the Chinese Communist Party, but you're literally tweeting fetish films to your millions of followers. But of course, like, we all remember this one where Yumi Nu had a swimsuit cover and he just tweeted, "Sorry, not beautiful." And no amount of authoritarian tolerance is going to change that. Again, it's just misogynistic, right? And a lot of his tweets are just misogynistic. Here is like someone who is objectively good looking, but because they're a bit larger than your average, I don't know, super skinny swimsuit model, apparently that's authoritarian tolerance. Like, no one could ever find this woman very attractive. It's all being forced on us by some sort of Marxist third column or something. And to share you something recently, Jordan Peterson has been writing poems on Twitter recently, and they're very weird. Whoever this guy is, Jay Bhattacharya, wrote some tweet framed like Dr. Zeus. And Jordan Peterson took this and he ran with it to make it about COVID and wokeness. So an update. "I will not wear your bloody mask. I do not care much for that task. You cannot scare me with your fears or try to shame me with your tears. We've come to hate your fake degrees, and we will stop your mad decrees. We will fight your wretched laws. We will flaunt them for a just cause. It's time for us to remain free. To hell with you, OCDC," the chorus. "We will not bow down and comply. We will no more accept your lie. We've had the COVID craze. We're done with all your tyrant ways. One thing I'll say about that Dr. Seuss-inspired poem is at least it's more coherent than the other haikus he seems to write recently. I'll just share some of these weird poems he's been writing in the last couple months, which are just absolutely bizarre. So retweeting people on the right in Britain who say Britain to be left without emergency power backup this winter. This madness of net zero means ordinary folks face energy rationing. Let grandma freeze in the dark, net zero. People are too comfortable mocking vegans. Don't mock vegans. They don't have the stamina to recover. The liars are enabling the butchers. So yeah, it's pretty clear Petey Boy is losing his mind. And if you guys aren't aware of just how insane his Twitter usage is, I'm going to post like a little maybe montage of me going through his tweets from other videos, including him just tweeting non-stop for like a couple hours. Like literally, this is the behavior of a genuinely sick man, I think. At the very least, but Jordan Peterson doesn't like waiting at all. So just going from the top, so tweeting something about Occupy Wall Street 35 minutes ago, but then 38 minutes ago, he's tweeting at Justin Trudeau. And then 39 minutes ago, a CNN post. 41 minutes ago, then retweeting St. Michael's Line, this castle in Europe. Then retweeting himself on the Daily Wire. Then 43 minutes ago, he's talking about sending someone to prison who works at a gender clinic. He's retweeting PragerU. The least free place on earth is the mind ensnared by its own lies. 45 minutes ago, he's tweeting again. 47 minutes ago, he's retweeting himself from 50 minutes ago, where he first tweeted 52 minutes ago. He's tweeting again about how Sweden dealt with COVID. 54 minutes ago, he's retweeting someone. 57 minutes ago, he's retweeting himself attacking Justin Trudeau again. Then he's retweeting some article from the New York Post talking about the censorship industrial complex. Then he's retweeting someone else who detransitioned. 59 minutes ago, then PragerU tweeting name one way to fix America, and he writes pray desperately. That's 1 hour ago. More and more tweets in a really, really short space of time, including retweeting himself loads, just retweeting any little thing he sees. I'm still showing you tweets from within the hour that I started. He just cannot stop retweeting stuff. Weird haikus, tweeting non-stop. This guy seriously has a social media addiction. And his stuff doesn't even make sense. He tweets about everything. And when I go through his Twitter, go on it now if you're curious, like half the things I'm reading, I'm like, what are you even saying? Like genuinely, it seems like he's mentally ill. We all know he struggled with addiction to prescription drugs. We all know he was put into a medically induced coma. We all know social media has radicalized him, but we also know he's addicted. And it's a bit of a joke at the moment that Jordan Peterson is acting like the Joker. But then recently, he also started posting loads of tweets with just the Joker. Like, literally just the Joker. It doesn't matter which one. It's Joaquin Phoenix. It's one for the comics. He's just posting that stuff. So yeah, Jordan Peterson seems to have genuinely lost his mind. And the court ruling in favor of the college makes a lot of sense. Because it's not that he's just tweeting his political opinions, which seems to be tolerated for the most part. It's that he just acts like a crazy man. And he just tweets insanely racist stuff, misogynistic, transphobic, everything. He's like genuinely like a terrible far-right guy, and he can't shut up about it as well. Like he is on Twitter like 24/7. Now, if anyone's going to come in the comments saying it's an attack on free speech, you know, I'm not someone who believes that if you have a job, like, you just have to never tweet your political views again. Never tweet your social views, right? You're just, all you are now is an employee. Like, you cannot have political views anymore. And that is something that does happen. Like, I remember at my old job, like, I just wrote an article about, like, something to do with Israel-Palestine. And then I get some, like, Zionist people, like, messaging my boss, calling me a racist and stuff, trying to get me fired because I wrote a news story that had negative things about Israel. But it was just like an objective news story, right? It wasn't even my opinion. And they found out through my YouTube I also supported Jeremy Corbyn. So they were calling me a racist to my boss, right? Thankfully, my boss didn't care about that. But that is a serious concern for a lot of people in the corporate world, right? They'll find your Twitter where you've said negative things about whatever, the government, maybe Israel, a controversial topic like that. And you can be fired for it, basically, right? Because you're seen as a representative of the company. And I do get that, right? If I was fired from my job because I wrote an article about Israel that was negative and they found out I supported Jeremy Corbyn, then yeah, there would be cause for an uproar, right? That is like an attack on freedom of speech. Supporting the leader of the opposition party at the time and not liking Israel should be protected no matter where I work. So I understand that. Jordan Peterson's case is a little different because he's not being expelled from the college. He's just being told, like, your tweets are insane. You must go through this little program and you can stay. You can still be a psychologist. We're not kicking you out. Just go through this little program because you're so extreme, right? You're so extreme. I've showed you the tweets. He genuinely has lost his mind and they're still tolerating him. They would have perfect grounds to kick him out, in my opinion. But they're not doing that. Because again, it seems like they tolerate the politics stuff. And even then, his extremism, they won't kick him out. So how is that an attack on free speech? Like, Jordan Peterson fans, I don't understand. How is that an attack on free speech? He represents his organization. He's bringing their credibility down by how extreme he's being. And they're saying, Jordan, you need to come in and do a course about how to use your social media and how badly you're representing the profession as a whole. And then he cries about it being like a Marxist plot, re-education camps, like North Korean style or something like that. Again, he always plays the victim, but he's done this for years. Remember the original bill in Canada and how he framed it? He was like, I'm going to be forced to say the correct pronouns, and if I don't do that, I will be sent to Stalin's gulag. That is the logic he was using, right? It all starts with, you must say pronouns, and it ends with the gulags of Stalin. Like, this guy has always been deeply paranoid. You know, even when he first came on the scene, talking about all this Soviet art, talking about these fascist conspiracy theories like cultural Marxism, and this is basically the end result. Social media addiction has absolutely melted his mind, and his punishment isn't being expelled from the college, it's social media training. Maybe for like a couple of hours or something. It doesn't seem like a proper punishment to me. Like I said, if he got kicked out, I don't think many people would care either, because he'd probably deserve it in the first place. But that is it for the video. Just a quick one today, probably. Just thought it was funny since we've been covering Jordan Peterson's tweets for so long. And that is it for the video. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching.